Tucked away on the picturesque island at the edge of the US border stands the most remote gallery in the USA. Today, we visit this hidden gem where art and nature come together. This gallery features artworks inspired by the Lopez Island beauty, captured by this talented artist. Join us as we explore the stories behind the art and learn why Lopez Island is more than just a place to visit. At the end of the episode, we'll reveal how you can experience this exclusive gallery and meet the artist yourself.
Okay, let's get situated. So this gallery is located on one of the most remote islands in the US, close to Canada. San Juan Islands, where the Lopez Island is located, a group of islands between Canada and the US, located just by Canadian border. To get there, you would need to take a bit of a journey. It starts in Seattle. You take about an hour and a half drive to the ferry landing in Anacortes, and then from there you have to take a ferry to arrive to the Lopez Island. The Lopez Island itself is fairly small, and when you look at the map you can just see this main road from the ferry landing. Then you can drive into the center, which is about 20-25 different businesses, and then the total population of the island is about 2,000 people. So it's really small, really remote, but it's so beautiful that you couldn't have found a better spot for a painter. And speaking of artists, let me introduce you to Steve, the artist, the creative mind and hands behind the beautiful paintings of a Windswept Gallery.
At the studio where I've really been painting a lot for the last 20 or 21 years. So the house was built with the studio up here on the third floor, of course, here in the San Juan Islands. It doesn't get too much better than that for an artist. I do about 300 to 400 finished paintings a year, plein air, little ones. And then I do large ones too. So this is a painting that I did last summer just down the bay at Port Stanley. A couple of beach walkers, I don't know who they are, but two ladies out on the beach, and I was lucky enough to catch them in motion as they were walking away from me. And so what I do when I work outdoors on site or plein air is I take the painting, a lot of times I'll take it into my studio and look at it for maybe several days or several weeks or several months to make sure it's exactly what I want, and trying to get the feeling of these people walking on the beach and the summer day on Lopez Island. So that's a process that I use. Of course I work in pastel, but I use all sorts of pastels. I even use paint brushes to work to soften some edges maybe, or whatever is needed to be done. My palette of pastels, and this is just the soft pastels and the hard pastel sticks. In there are probably 2,000 different sticks of pastel. So that's my studio collection, which comes from what I use when I'm outside painting, which is actually a more organized set. But you can see they are organized by color and value here, so that I'm able to just, if I want a deep dark ultramarine blue, I know where to reach for it. If I want a phthalo blue, I know where to reach for that. If I want bright orange, bright red, whatever, it's all right there.
Why do you like pastels?
Pastels give me an immediate response to whatever I'm painting. Clearly, they don't have to dry. They are dry. There's a pastel stick. And so when you have to wait for a paint to dry, everything changes over time. Oil paints have a tendency to turn dark. Watercolors turn light. But the whole thing is drying time. You know, you have to wait for that. And I'm an impatient kind of person. I do not like to wait for things to happen. And so that's one of the reasons I like pastel. Another reason I like pastel is, and people have no idea about this if they're not familiar with art mediums, but it is the most permanent medium on the planet. It is made from pure pigments. This is not artificial stuff. It's made from earth pigments. When you think about it, all of the paints, all of everything, the colors in our clothing are all made from earth pigments. That's where we got them. They've been made into dyes, they've been made into paint, they've been made into whatever, but pastel is the purest form of earth pigment, It won't turn dark, it won't fade, it won't crack over time as long as it's framed under museum glass, or I use a very expensive framing glazing thing called Optium Museum acrylic. It's acrylic, but it's been treated atomically when they manufacture it so that it's removed the electrostatic properties of regular acrylic or plexiglass, which means then that when it's over the surface of a pastel or directly in contact with the surface of a pastel, which is the technique I'm now using, there's nowhere for the dust to go. It's not going to jump off the paper like it does with glass, and especially when you move a painting around or ship it or something like that. And framing technique I'm using now is one called passe-partout. It's a French word, and it just simply refers to putting the pastel in direct contact with the acrylic. If you tried that with plexiglass, it would all come off. It'd be terrible. So that's, in a nutshell, one of the reasons I like pastel is just the permanence of the medium and the spontaneity of the color. I do a lot of color layering to get the effects that I achieve, and this is a good example of that. There's many colors involved here. I started with the deepest, darkest darks that I could possibly put in, just knowing where these rocks were. The surf moves and makes changes as it comes and goes. You know, you've all been to the beach and you know what that's like. So I just sort of pick and choose where I'm going to have my darkest values first, and that's what I focus on at the very beginning. And then I'm able to keep layering colors one over the other. Each of this is a pastel stroke. This painting, by the way, was done in 45 minutes. And I say 40 years and 45 minutes because you have to learn the process to get to the level where you can create the illusion of transparent water or the solidity of opaque rock, hard and soft edges. This is one I did in Hawaii last December. It was done in front of the actual surf. The water's moving, the water's in constant motion. When that happens, I'm able to better capture the whole feeling of the place than trying to work from a reference photo, because reference photos are very static. The colors are always bad. A photo print is terrible. The next best thing is a computer monitor, but even that is still not the best to work with. And I'm debating on how to handle some of this foreground here yet. I like my background. It's how it was near, I think it's Manini Beach on the big island near Kona, and that's about where Captain Cook met his demise over here when he made the Hawaiians a little angry at him. Anyway, it's a beautiful place to paint, and I'm still working on this. So I have just a whole lot of paintings up here that are works in progress in my studio, as well as in another room here at the house. So I'm a pretty busy guy, you know.
Can anyone do what you do?
Yeah, anybody can do this. It's not rocket science. It just takes practice. People have the misconception that you're born with talent, okay? I know about 3 artists in the world that were born with talent. That includes Michelangelo, Raphael, and probably Picasso, okay? Everybody else had to learn the hard way. And honestly, it's putting in what we call brush hours or pastel stick hours, and putting in the time and the dedication. One thing one has to do is learn how to draw, and I brought this little sketchbook. This is a drawing I did in Corčula City, Croatia, and there's a boat right down at the dock. I can do finished paintings from these. These are just, pencil on sketchbook paper. We call a value study, but I know where the light is, what the lights and the darks are going to be, and the color's not that difficult after that. So a lot of work drawing and training yourself to draw and making things look like they look like from a 3-dimensional perspective to two-dimensional. I do painting all over the world. I've got a trip scheduled to Croatia in September, which is like the 7th through the 16th, and it's filling up fairly quickly, so I know we're going to go. And it's limited to 14 people. And that can be artists and spouses together with my wife Judy and myself. So there's actually 16 of us on the trip. And we go with a guide over there who is Croatian, and of course she knows everybody where we go. And it's just a wonderful trip because we get to have a lot of interaction with the Croatian people and all of the architecture, of course. And where we're going to be on Croatia Island is especially spectacular because it's a marine environment, just like the San Juan Islands. In fact, here's a painting. Yeah, this is one. I did this as a demo, but it was very fun to paint the Croatian light, you know, the light of the Adriatic, and do some boats in the water, which is so typical of what we do in Croatia when I do one of my tours.
So if you ever dreamed combining the art and travel, this might be a perfect opportunity for you. And there are still a couple of spots left, so I will put the link down in the description. And this would be the end of this episode, except for one personal story. Some time ago, my husband sent me this message asking to send favorite shots from our trip to Iceland. So I picked this free, and I had no idea why he asked. And actually he decided to make a surprise and commission a custom ordered painting from the artist you just met in this video. And he even asked to send some of the photos as the painting was progressing, and it's super cool to see how it was made. And the painting is finally here. It came in this neat packaging, so it traveled all the way across Atlantic, and it was very well packaged. It didn't get damaged. So there is this glass that is already here. This is a museum glass that you heard about from the video. It helps protect all the pastels that are here and making sure that it will never fade. And it also gives more of a pop of a color for all of these beautiful shades of blue and gray and everything in between. In the day and age where you can just buy anything, the presents like this that are handmade and very tailored to something emotional in your life, like for us it was the trip to Iceland, I feel like they have so much more value. And if you're looking for some special gift to your loved ones, ordering a custom painting like this could be a great idea. As you can see, the apartment is so white that it can definitely use some color, especially like bright colors like this. We already have one painting from the same artist. This is much more muted, and at the time it seemed like it fits perfectly our muted palette in the apartment. And it's beautiful, we love it, but it feels like it needs some friends. The plan is to find a perfect frame for it, and then a permanent home in this home. In the meantime, we're gonna explore the island a little bit more, and you're definitely welcome to come along for the ride.